Audit and Assurance Standards on Auditing 550 Related Parties. The objective of this standard is to understand the relationship and transactions of related parties and to recognize risk factors arising from such relations and transactions, and to check whether financial statement gives true and fair view in spite of such relations and transactions or not, and to obtain evidence about whether relations and transactions are appropriately identified, accounted, and disclosed as per the financial reporting framework. Now let's see what is the audit procedure prescribed under this standard. That is the risk assessment procedure and related activities. First, understand the relations and transactions of the related party. For this, you have to first of all identify the related parties within the organizations or outside organizations and nature of relationships and the transactions entered with the related parties. After that, you have to also identify the control of management on such identification, accounting and disclosures of relations and transaction. इस तरह के disclosure पे क्या management का control है identification, accounting या disclosure पे. And second, you have to see whether there is a control of management on authorization and approval of significant transactions. कोई important transactions होते हैं तो क्या authorization या approval लगता है management का when such transactions takes place with the related party या फिर outside the normal course of business. The next thing which you have to do is maintain the alertness. While inspecting the records of the organization, you should try to find the existence of relations or transactions with the related party, whether management has previously disclosed or identified such relations or not. And second thing, you have to remain alert about the significant transaction which are outside the normal course of business and try to find out the nature of such transactions and whether the related party is involved in such transactions or not. Once you do this, you have to share the related party information with the engagement team. Identify and assess the risk of material misstatement because of such relations and transactions with the related parties. So in this, determine whether such risks are significant risk and identify the risk factor, fraud factors. Means because of this relation, whether there is a chance of happening of any fraud or not. Now, once you identify the risk of material misstatement, how you have to respond to such risk. Identify previously unidentified or undisclosed related parties or significant related party transaction. First, try to understand, identify such things, related parties. Promptly communicate to engagement team. First thing you have to do is to communicate to engagement team about such relations. Check the requirement of related parties under the financial reporting framework, if any. अगर फ्रेमवर्क कुछ प्रिस्क्राइब करता है certain types of requirement of related party, whether these have been followed or not, ask management to identify all transactions with newly identified related parties. Inquire why management control failed to identify and disclose such related parties, relations and transaction, and then perform substantive procedure relating to newly identified related parties. Reconsider the risk. After applying this procedure, reconsider the risk that other related party or significant related party transaction may exist. If non-disclosure was intentional, then evaluate its implication on audit. Whenever there is an intentional non-disclosure, there may be a higher degree of risk. The next thing, you have to identify significant related party transactions outside the normal course of business. जो normal course में of business में नहीं हुए हैं, ऐसे transaction को identify करो and inspect the contracts and agreements of such type of transactions and check whether such transactions were entered for fraudulent financial reporting or to conceal the misappropriation or assets or not. Again, check transactions whether these are consistent with management explanations or not, and check transactions are appropriately accounted and disclosed as per the financial reporting framework. Second thing you have to do, obtain the audit evidence that transactions are appropriately authorized and approved within the organizations. The next thing, if management gives assertion that related party transactions were as per the terms equivalent to prevailing arm length transactions, then in such case obtain the audit evidence about such assertion, whether the facts are true or not. The next thing is forming an opinion on financial statement. While forming an opinion, you have to check whether identified relations and transaction with related parties are appropriately accounted and disclosed, and whether such relations or transactions are affecting the true and fair view of financial statement or not, and whether these are causing financial statement to be misleading or not. So before forming opinion, you must check these things. Written representations, when financial reporting framework establish some requirement related to related parties, then obtain the written representation from the management that they have disclosed the identity of all the related parties and related party transactions and relations, and accounted and disclosed such relationship and transactions of related parties as per financial reporting framework. So you have to obtain this written representation of this. Finally, you have to communicate with those who are charged with the governance, communicate all significant matters related to such related parties to these people. Documentation include the name of related party with nature of relationship with the related party in audit documentation. So audit documentation should be complete as far as related parties are concerned.